Chilo, see now you can see the screen. I have a table here, one master data table, and this table contains some data. Execute. I have your salesman ID, salesman name, age, and address. So let's load this data into BW. Okay. So first check it out. What is your SMID? I think we have created a data source also yesterday, right? RSO2.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let's check that. Any idea what is the data source we have created yesterday?
Yeah, 7MZ, yes.
This one, right? 7A?
Yes. Yes.
Let's not display.
The data system. It's a master.
Yeah. 7A. Okay. So this is what we created yesterday. Take this one. So we have done extraction also. RSA3 we have done, RSA7 we have done, right? RSA6 also we have done. If you remember. Right, Raj?
Yes. Can you please once again, even
See,
it's okay with
once you've done this one, let me explain to you once again. You have to come to here RSO2, click on a change, enter your application component, enter description, link your table to your data source, because this is a place where the data is available. Your data source is a structure, it doesn't have any data. I'm specifying where is my data. It is a view or table. View is nothing but I can have a multiple tables into one view, but table contains only one table data. Once you've done this one, you need to click on a save, then it will goes to a different screen, and the screen you have to specify what are the fields is coming from the table. You have to select those fields. So I'm going to use those fields into my data source.
Okay.
It's reading now. See, here you are specifying all your selection of your fields, then it will create a structure for you that is called extract structure. The extract structure, whenever you create a data source, it will create by default by the system. Once you've done this one, then you have to save this and come back. So my data source is ready. Once your data source is ready, then you have to go to a transaction code called RSA6 post processing, where you have specified your application component. I am going to the application component here.
Muted.
Under application component, you have to select your application component, check your data source. It should be mentioned, it should be displayed under your application component. If it is not mentioned, that your data source is not ready. So it is mentioned in the sense it is ready for that. If you want to take this further enhancement, you can check the enhancement extraction. This comes later. If you want to append any structure, if you want to add any new component or new fields or whatever you want to do for this existing data source, you can do. This is a append structure for your extract structure. Okay, so you can go on to check all the stuff. It is not required. Simply come back here. Okay, once it is there, then I need to enter a transaction code called RSA3. It is called extraction checker. We call extractor checker. There you have to mention your data source name. You need to click on extraction. Then what happens is it is going to extract the data from the table into the data source. It will display how many records are available in the table. Now the table data is linked with your data source. It is extracted the data. Now the data source contains a data. To check that, click on list. It shows one packet loaded with 3 records. Double click, it will display the data. Once you've done this one, minimize your SAP R/3 system. Then you have to log on to your SAP BW system. The first transaction code is RSA 13. Go to source system. I need to check my source system. Right click on it, click on check. The source system connection is displays it's okay. Now double click on this. Once it is done, please come and check under your sales and distribution. Where is application component? This is my application component. Under this application component, check where is your data source. What is my data source? ZDSMD underscore 7am. If it is not displaying here, click on find and search. It is not able to find. Why? Because it doesn't display automatically here. Then what I need to do? What you have to do is you have to replicate the data source from the ECC system. How do I do the replication? Very simple. There is a transaction code called /o rsds. RSDS. Press enter. It will go to a place called data source repository. Enter your data source name. Then what is the source system? The source system name you have to enter ECC source system connection. In the ECC source system connection, you have to select the source system. This is your data source. Once you select these two, there is an option called data source. Under menu bar, there is an option called replicate data source. Then what happens? The data source will be replicated from ECC system into BW system. You can see the status bar. It says replication successfully completed. Once you've done this one, just go back to your BW system again. Data warehousing modeling. To replicate, you have one more option also. Right click on your application component. Say replicate metadata. So what is the difference in between this replication and RSDS replication? If you right click on application component, if you say replicate metadata, it will replicate all the data sources, not only whatever the data source you have created. Whatever the number of data sources are available under this particular application component, it will replicate everything. But if you want to replicate a specified data source, then come here. I am replicating only one data source. Whatever the specified data, whatever is specified by you, only this data source will be replicated here. This is a major difference in between replicating the data source by right clicking on application component or going to a transaction code called RSDS. That is a major difference. Now once it is done here, click on refresh. Once you click on a refresh, please observe where is your data source. $7:30, right? $7 a.m. See, now it is finding. My data source is available ready. This is my data source. But my data source is not inactive. Then what I need to do? Double click on your data source. Then click on change button. Then click on activate. That's it. You got your data source from ECC system. Once your data source is ready, it is activating. Let it complete. Okay, once it is ready, please observe this is an active version. Now click on extraction tab. Please observe this adapter has been changed. What is the adapter? It is access to SAP data through the service of API. API is application programming interface. Through this only the data will be accessed. This is a programming interface. But previously we have access the data from local workstation. If you are getting the data from ECC system, the adapter will be this. There won't be any formats. There won't be that kind of stuff like what we have done for flat file. If you go to the fields, it will display the list of the fields are available in this particular data source: SMID, SNAME, SH, and address. Once my data source is ready, then what I need to do, I have to look for my data target. So where is your data target? For that, what I need to do is I need to go to info object. So you have to create a certain info object. If it is available, it's well and good. Okay. So we have used all the info objects, I believe. 7 a.m. batch, right? Yours is 9:30 batch, 9 p.m. batch. I think luckily we have one info object here. 9 a.m. Huh? Okay. Open this. Okay. Then go to attributes tab. Create some attributes. Let's say that what is a naming convention I have used here? SMID 9 a.m. Okay. SNAME underscore 9 a.m. Create this. Yes. Okay. SNAME. Just give something. Character. Length is 10 digits. Okay. SH underscore 9 a.m. Press enter. Enter. Salesman. Age. Data type is going to be numeric. The length is going to be 2 digits. Click on continue. What are the objects we have in the data source? RSA 15. RSA 15. Where is your data source? This is my data source. Double click. Go to fields. I have a name, age, address. Okay. Come back here. Name, age, address. Okay. Yes, address underscore 9 a.m. Press enter. Enter. Salesman address 10 digits. When you say activate, we have M version not available. Select all of them. Delete. Then say activate. F3. Continue. Continue. It's going to create all your attributes. Okay. So once it is created attributes, all these things, then open this. Edit. Let's enter. Salesman name 9 a.m. Salesman age 9 a.m. Salesman address 9 a.m. Then activate now. Okay, so it is activated. Let's use this as my data target. Go to info provider 9 a.m. batch. Where is that? 9 a.m. Yeah. 9 a.m. It is 9 p.m. Okay, 9 a.m. here. Right click on this. Insert characteristic as info provider. SMI. It's not Z. SMID underscore 9 a.m. I believe. Yes. See, I got my attributes and text. So I'm loading attributes right now. So what is my data source name? Go back to your data source. What is your data source name? This is my data source name. Copy this. Come back to here. Right click on your data targets, create transformation. The transformation is object type data source. Technical name is this. Source system. What is the source system? Not PC. The source system is going to be RFC connection. Okay, that is a ECC connection. You need to enter your source system. Okay, now map the fields. SMID, name to name, age to age, address to address. Once you've done this, click on activate. The transformation has been completed. Okay, Well and good. Now what I need to do? Go to your data source. Click on refresh. I got a transformation under this data source. Very good. Now what I need to do? Right click on it. Create info package. Info pack for ECC data loading. Press enter. Then go to schedule tab. Click on start. Data requested. Click on monitor. Please observe this. Still it is loading. Wait for some time because the data is loading from the ECC system. Can you see now? I got 3 records. Click on PSA maintenance. It displays 3 records. These 3 records are coming from ECC system. Okay, now go back. I have my info package is ready. Now I need to create a DTP. Right click on my data source, create data transfer process. This is my source of the data is data source. This is my technical name of data source. This is my source system. Target is info object SMID 9am attributes. Click on continue. Full. Execute tab. Activate. Execute. Do you want to display the request monitor? Yes. All are green, so the data loaded successfully. Click on administer data target. Check your load request. Report is available. Number of records transferred 3. Added 3. This is your data target. Select. Click on contents. Click on execute.
Unmuted.
Here I have my data from the ECC system. This is how you load the data from ECC SAP ERP system into SAP BW. Yes. Any questions here? Raj?
No,
Sureka?
okay.
Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now let me show you that. Sureka, is it clear for you?
Hello. Yes, Kiran, it's
Yeah.
clear.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, today this system is also not working still. They have internet problem. Okay, so the same thing you have to do for transaction data. And then you should have created one transaction date table. The table you have to load. Same, very similar. There is no changes here. This is a way of loading the master data or transaction data from the table. This is called generic data source. What is the difference in between generic data source and BI content data source, Raj?
Can you come again?
What is the difference in between generic data source and BI content data source?
BI content data source are new data sources. When we install the BI content, the new business thing will come into picture. When we're speaking about the generic data source, it's all related to the logistics.
You are making it is a cocktail.
Yes.
What is a BI content, Raj?
It's a
What
new.
is a BI?
It's a new business content.
No. Where are you getting this word called new? I never spoke about a word called new here.
Yes.
It is not new. It is a predefined.
Predefined. Yes. SAP delivered business content.
SAP BW content or BI content, we call it is a predefined. We also call this is a SAP BI extractors.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the data source, either let me give you that. In a BW system, we used to call a data source name is data source only. But if you come to this ERP system, we call a data source.
Okay.
We can call it is extractor. Okay. The data source is extractor. These extractors are two types. Generic extractor BI content extractor. Extractor is, don't get a word, don't get confused the word. Extractor is nothing but a data source. The
Okay.
people, they are using a word called extractor. It is a data source.
Okay.
Okay. So generic data source is nothing but which we are creating. Who is creating? Created by BW consultant. Okay. In SAP language, they say that created by user. But for SAP, we are users for SAP. Though you are a BW consultant, though you are a BW project manager, whatever you are, SAP call you, you are a user in SAP language. Okay, so this is a created by BW consultant. What is created by? Is creating everything from the scratch. From the scratch in the sense, he has to create a data source and set up the table. Everything is doing here. So this is called generic data source. BI content is nothing but predefined. Who's created? Created by SAP. Then what is this? Ready to use. No need to create. No need to create or set up anything. It is a predefined. It is already created by SAP. Yeah, is it clear now?
Yes, Kiran.
So this is what you need to remember. The people in the interviews, they'll keep asking you what is a generic extractor. Do you know how to extract the data from the generic data source? Generic extractor. Sometimes they use word called extractor, sometimes they use a data source. Don't get confusion. The extractor word is equal to data source. Extractor is nothing but a data source. Because what we do in a data source, we extract the data. That's the reason we call it is extractor. Very simple. Okay. So now what is a BI content data sources? BI content data sources or BI content extractors, we have different types. What is that? Application specific, cross application specific. Under application specific, you have seen that the flow chart, right? You have seen the flow chart, right, Raj, in a previous classes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
then I have
Kiran.
divided into two parts. Application specific is nothing but whatever the applications are helping your business, those are all application specific. SD or FICO, HR, COPA, not COPA, your low cockpit, logistic, your data sources, all application specific. Under application specific, we have a generic data sources also. Let me open that, you'll understand. Yeah, if you see here, under types of extractors, we have application specific and we have a cross application specific. Under application specific, we are talking about all the BW content extractors or data sources. It is a FI, FICO, HR, CO, CRM, low cockpit. All the data will be stored under application specific tables. Under this application specific, we have a customer generated extractors also. Generic extractors also under application specific. What is that? LIS, FISL, this all ledgers. Okay, it's a FICO related, then it is a COPA, it's a financial related. Only these data sources, though it is a predefined, then I have to create the data source. These are all the application. I'm using application, predefined application. I'm not creating the data here. I'm not creating a table here. It is a predefined, it's already created. But what I'm doing, I'm only creating a data source only on top of this data. That is called customer generated extractor under application specific. Where is the data? It goes again database table. Coming back to the cross application specific, it is completely generic extractors. You have to create everything from the scratch. If you have existing tables, that's well and good, you can use. If you have a predefined table also, you can use. So you have to create your data source. This data source has to be created by the BW consultant, either by using a table or a view or an info set or a function module. Where is the data? All the data in a various database table, SAP database table. Please remember, it is not application specific. You are creating your own tables. This is not related to any application. It is only standalone tables. Then you are creating everything from the scratch here. That's the reason We call it is a generic extractors. Of course, here also you are creating data source, but we call it is customer generated extractor, but depended on application specific data. Here, there is no application specific data. You're simply creating a table. The table contains some data. That data you're using. This data will be stored in the various database tables. But this side, all the data will be stored application database tables. Application specific database tables. Clear, guys? Okay, so these are the very important for extractor. If you don't understand this extractor, you cannot understand anything how to extract the data from your ECC system, which you have to remember all these things. Okay, then we have already done master data attributes loading from SAP R/3 into BW system. We use a generic extractor that is called cross application specific. This is what we did today. Okay, then what I'm going to do is, tomorrow I'm going to show you how to load a transaction data. Yeah. So what I can ask you is it possible if you can do a transaction data loading yourself? It is very similar. You can create one table, transaction data table. We have not created a table, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fine. I'll do one thing. This HANA system, I have one more system called HANA. This is also, these guys are really irritating. Still they have not fixed this issue. At least I know I have created another batch, the transaction data table in this system only. If the system is up and today I make sure that this system is up and running, then tomorrow I will show you how to load a transaction data table, transaction data source, okay, into BW from ECC system. Tomorrow we'll finish that. Then we'll enter into other topics. Fine, guys?
Okay. Yes,
fine. Thank you very much. We'll meet tomorrow.